Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Leda and I no longer live in London. So it's been a while. I haven't really had a sit down video like this in ages. I have put out a lot of vlogs lately because I've been traveling and it's been super fun, but I think you guys deserve a little life update. If you follow me on Instagram or you know me personally, you probably know that I have indeed left London for good. I no longer live there. I have returned back to Canada, to my hometown of Montreal. And honestly, I'm super happy about it. So I wanted to touch on a few points of why I left London and why it was the right decision for myself. But first, as you can probably tell, there comes a little bit of a dilemma with this situation. My YouTube channel name is Leda in London. I started it when I moved to London and I really want to continue it because I have fallen in love with making videos and I want to keep sharing with you guys. So I have come up with two alternative names for my channel and I need your help to choose which one would be best for me. So the first option is See You Leda. It's a play on words with my name, Leda, and see you later. I think that's a good option. First of all, it was my Instagram handle before I changed it to Leda in London, and I think it encompasses my love for travel and never staying in the same place for too long. See you later. Or the second option, which is my boyfriend Paul's favorite, I think he came up with it actually, is Leda in Limbo. So we're keeping in track with the alliteration with this one, and it also alludes to the fact that I want to split my time between Canada for half the year and traveling for the rest of the year, so I'll always be in limbo. Let me know what your favorite choice is in the comments here below. I'll also be putting up a poll on YouTube, so if you see that, make sure to choose your favorite. Now, let's get down to business as to why I left London. So a little bit of a recap here. I moved to London in October of 2020. I was on a youth mobility visa, which is a 2-year visa that the UK grants to a whole bunch of countries, including Canada. And you can actually move to the UK without having a job lined up or anything. Just move there, find a job. Sort of works the same way as a working holiday visa in other countries. So that visa lasts 2 years, but as you can sort of tell, I didn't stick it out through the 2 years. And it wasn't necessarily one factor that made me want to leave. It was an accumulation of these 5 factors. The first reason I left London is because I really missed my family and friends. As you can imagine, moving to a different country, a different continent where you don't know a lot of people can be quite isolating, especially during a pandemic. I remember getting to London, it was late October, and then I had to do my 2 weeks of quarantine, and I got out on Halloween night, and then I think I had 4 days of freedom before there was another lockdown that started in November, and that lasted all the way up until Christmas, and then there was a few days of freedom, and then another lockdown set in. So I never really got the opportunity as soon as I got there to go out and put myself out there and make friends, and so I just basically stayed the first 6 months in my apartment and my boyfriend was my social life. So that's never an ideal situation. I did know one friend in London before I moved there. Her name's Ellie. The only thing was that she lived about an hour away, and so with lockdowns and you're not supposed to leave your house, we didn't really get to see each other all that much. But when we did, it was really awesome, and she is going to be one of the people that I miss the most after leaving. I did get a job eventually, which I guess can open up social opportunities, but like I said, there were lockdowns, and so for an entire 6 months I did not meet my colleagues in person. And when lockdowns did start to be lifted and things started to open up more, I still wasn't super comfortable with putting myself out there as much because I hadn't gotten COVID yet and I was still quite afraid of the virus, especially since the UK started opening its doors way sooner than other countries like Canada. And this just really made me realize that it's so important to have family and friends nearby to be a support, to have fun with, go out with, and the fact that I didn't have that sort of bummed me out. The second reason I left London is for financial reasons. I got a job, my dream job initially, at a major record label, Sony Music, in London, and I really loved my work. I loved what I did, but I was expecting to be making a lot more money. Paul and I had gotten our apartment before I had gotten my job, and we grossly overestimated our capacity to pay rent, and so probably close to half of my salary was going into the rent that I had to pay for our flat in central London, which wasn't an ideal situation, especially because London is one of the most expensive cities in the world. So that was quite a strain. I tried as much as I could to get different streams of income, but it still was really difficult for me and was another reason why I wanted to leave. And this leads me into my third point, which is for career reasons. Working in a big city at a big company was always something that I dreamed of and I thought that I wanted, but actually having that made me realize that it just doesn't really fit my personality. And so I've always been a very entrepreneurial person, and I decided that I want to create my own company. However, living in one of the most expensive cities in the world with lots of rent to pay isn't really the best environment to just quit your job and dive headfirst into a passion project. So I thought it'd probably be more wise, instead of staying in London and freaking out about finances again, I would just move back to Canada and have the comfort of home where I can stay comfortably with my parents while I figure out that aspect of my life. The fourth reason I left London is for political reasons. Now, I don't want to get too much into this because I don't want to get in trouble, but I don't necessarily agree with the current government in the UK, and I am quite happy that the current leader has decided to step down. And although that's a great step in the right direction, I still don't really align politically with where things are going right now. I never really considered myself a political person, but it really took moving away from Canada to realize how important it is to have the same political values of the country that you're living in. And that just didn't happen when I lived in the UK. The fifth and last reason I left the UK and London is because I wanted peace. For the last 4 years, I have lived in two of the world's biggest cities, London and New York. And I just got tired of that. As somebody who has a fear of missing out, I think it's just better to remove myself from the stimulating environment than immersing myself in it and feeling anxious because I'm not doing enough. I'm not going out to that gig, I'm not going to the restaurant, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I just want to be able to breathe again and enjoy some more time outside. I know that London has a lot more parks and green spaces in New York, which I love that, but I think it's just time for me at this point in my life to move maybe to a small town that is near the water, and that's where Paul and I are currently looking to find a place. So that's sounding a lot better to me than living in a 700 square foot apartment in London on a busy street with traffic. Now, with all of that being said, I don't want to take away from the great things that happened to me whilst I was living in London. I really cherish that experience, and if you're thinking of moving there or thinking of moving abroad, I do not want this video to dissuade you, because it is something, if you do have the opportunity to do, that I think you should really go for. There's nothing like putting yourself out there and learning more about yourself and a different culture and putting yourself in situations that you might not have been in otherwise. There's a lot to learn and a lot of growth to be had in that. I actually think that moving to London was one of the best decisions I've ever made, But also leaving was one of the best decisions I ever made too. I could have stayed in London for longer and I could have resented myself for that. But I realized when my time to go was, because it's what I needed. And what I need is not necessarily what you need or what other people need. So definitely when making big decisions like that in life, listen to yourself. Don't listen to other people or think what other people might think. I got caught up for so long because living in London was sort of a personality trait for me at some point, and I was thinking, what will my friends say if I move to London and now I'm back before my visa runs out? I was thinking that I was a failure for leaving. But is listening to your heart and what you really want a failure? I don't think so. Anyways, this got a lot more philosophical than I thought it would, but thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you do stick around and keep subscribing to the channel. I promise I'm gonna have some good content for you guys, even though I don't live in London anymore. I recently went on a US road trip, and I also went to France, so those videos are coming up on the channel, and I hope you keep watching. Bye!